Hi, at BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library, coming to you this afternoon for a Friday Reads. Wanted to talk to you about how life has been going for this last week, and just tell you how the book reading has been going, and just life in general. And so I hope everybody is nice and healthy out there. I know that the numbers for everything that's been going on, the numbers have been going up, and my heart and prayers go out to those that are suffering. I've been blessed that it hasn't hit our household, and everybody is good here. Good with one exception, as I have told you in a previous video. Today's payday, and when payday comes around in my house, we usually do a big shopping trip, and we have to get the essentials, if you know what I mean. And as I've shared before, I've been sick of the toilet paper hoarders. We are at the low end of our stock here. The last toilet paper we were able to get our hands on was a very, very generic kind. It was like sandpaper. I mean, that's what it, yeah, anyway, you're getting the idea here. So we have been on the hunt for toilet paper. Matter of fact, yesterday in town here, there was none at the Hy-Vee, none at the Dollar General. So we went down to Maryville, none at the Walmart, none at the Dollar Tree, none at the Dollar General, none anywhere. And so we went even on down further south, down to St. Joe. Walmart wiped out, Sam's wiped out. It was so bad at Sam's Club, the people were walking around in there with their shopping carts, and they had like these mega loads of paper towels. I mean, you see them every once in a while in somebody's cart, but you don't typically see them, those big, huge, enormous loads of them in everybody's cart. And I just had to, I just laughed. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Because you know why they're buying it. They are turning that into toilet paper. And my wife and I were talking, and you just got to feel sorry for the plumbing, because you know that all those people are not going to be smart, and they are going to throw it in the toilet. If you're watching this, don't put paper towels in the toilet. And so anyway, not to carry on with the toilet humor, but as I said, today is payday, and so we were doing a little more hunting, toilet paper hunting for our household. And let me backtrack. Earlier today, I had to go take care of a situation here in town. And before I left, my wife says, "Don't get mad, Bill. Keep your temper. Do not get mad." I'm like, so I went and took care of the situation. I guess maybe I have a issue with my temper every once in a while. I get agitated with stuff. Anyway, so I kept my temper. So my wife goes to the Dollar General. And she goes back to the toilet paper aisle. They've got some toilet paper, and there's hoarders back there. And my wife says, "Don't take them all." And of course, this is me getting the story secondhand. So in my head, this is a pretty funny story, because my wife is pretty calm, cool, and collected most of the time. And this guy, he's loaded up with toilet paper. He's handing it to his significant other. And then he loads up, and my wife goes right over and takes a toilet paper roll thing right off the top of his stack. And I was so proud of her. Way to be aggressive, honey. So the big grab at our house, it's not a book haul, it's a toilet paper haul. So we've got the stuff. We've got the stuff in our house. So anyway, you probably don't want to hear about toilet paper. So let's move on to books. That's been pretty much the exciting stuff in our household here of late. But all right, so this week in reading, last weekend I did a book review on this book, and I've talked about this one already. But last weekend I finished The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. Thoroughly enjoyed this. This was an awesome book. I would recommend it to anybody and everybody wanting to read a memoir. Very interesting, a sad story, but with a message of hope that you can climb out of certain situations, out of poverty, and pull yourself up out of that. Very, very good story. I'd recommend it. My wife ended up reading it during the week, and she liked it, and it might even end up getting passed on to my oldest daughter. So that was one book. Another book that I read this week, this was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I read this, and then I did a book review on it yesterday, was this book, Lou, by Lou Piniella. It was an autobiography on his life in baseball. As I've told you, I'm a baseball fan. I've got a baseball collection upstairs of biographies and stuff. And this was an excellent book for one of those biographies. So if you're somebody out there that loves baseball books, I would highly recommend Lou. I thought that was pretty good. The other one that I've been working on all week, I didn't know if I'd end up getting it done this afternoon. I didn't even work on it. I chose a nap instead. I like naps, if you didn't catch that already. I'm a big fan of naps. So instead of reading, I ended up napping, but I've only got one chapter left in The Return of George Washington by Edward Larson. I will end up finishing this tomorrow morning, and I'll end up doing a book review sometime in the day on this book if you're interested in it. It deals with the time period right after the American Revolution and right before he becomes president, and talks about that in-between period when the United States had was being run under the Articles of Confederation, and we were trying to decide whether we should fix the articles or just totally scrap it and start over. And of course we ended up starting over, as you guys all know. But Edward Larson's done a pretty nice job with this book. I wish I would have read it at a less stressful time in life. I think I would have enjoyed it more. But it is a good book, and it's pretty thorough. It's got a lot of... what I really like about it is in his research, he's pulled a lot of the conversations and letters and stuff that were back and forth between George Washington and all the people who were working on the Constitution. And I thought that's been pretty entertaining in the book. I've enjoyed that, and I thought he did a really nice job with that. So anyway, I'll finish this tomorrow and tell you a little bit more about it in that book review that I'm going to do. All right. And then the one that I started it last night, although it was only the introduction, or the preface, excuse me. So I don't know that it really counts because it was only a couple pages, and then I went to bed. I didn't read very long. I've told you I don't read real well. Once I'm in bed trying to go to sleep, I don't read real well. But I started this last night, and then I was reading through the first chapter here this afternoon when I got up from my nap. This book, Tried by War, Abraham Lincoln as Commander-in-Chief. It's by James McPherson. McPherson's one of my favorite authors. I absolutely love McPherson, and I can already tell I'm only, like I said, in the first chapter, and you can tell right there I'm not very far, but I'm going to love this book. I just love his writing style. It's so fluid. It's entertaining. It does not feel like you're actually reading a history book. I mean, I just think he's really good. He's one of my all-time favorite authors. I'd recommend him to anybody. But I imagine this book I think I will probably get this done over the weekend or maybe into Monday, but it'll be done pretty quick. Another book that's on my list for this week, this will probably be an afternoon read, I imagine, is this book I told you about, Sabotage. I had a student buy that for me during the Scholastic Book Fair at school the last week we were in school. And I think I'm going to get that read so that I can see if I can recommend that to kids. And I was trying to figure out, after Tried by War, what's the next one the next major nonfiction, not including Sabotage, but the next major nonfiction I want to read. And I was looking on my shelves and stuff, and one of my goals was to read some of these world history books that I got. And hey, this is day 5 of, what do they call it? Social distancing, day 5. And so since we're in day 5 of social distancing, and I wanted to get in some world history, why not? Plagues and Peoples, William H. McNeill. I think I'm going to read that this week, try to get that read, or at least get it started. How about I say that? And I thought that probably goes in with the times quite well. And then my other plan, this seems like a lot of books, but there's a good chance I'll get through these in the next week and a half. The next one that I told you about in one of my other ones was Verena. It's a historical fiction, Civil War based, by Charles Frazier. He wrote Cold Mountain. That was an excellent book. I've read that and watched the movie, loved it. So I figured I picked that up on the cheap and figured I'd really like that. So that's also on the list. And then I had a magazine haul today. Came in the mail with as a teacher with one of the memberships that I have. We get free magazines. We get a choice of 2 magazines from this list of magazines. Now, typically the list of magazines is not real great, but it is where I get my archaeology magazine, which I really like, but it's always the second magazine that I'm like, what am I going to get? And so this time around, I tried Popular Science. And so I got the first issue of that in the mail. Actually, I got 2 of them in the mail. I will admit I'm not real huge on science and stuff. I mean, nothing wrong with it. It's not something that I go to read. But I thought, these will probably be interesting. It'll have some stuff in there. It'll be interesting. At least it's probably a little more academic anyway. And so I'm going to give those a try. And if I don't like them, I can definitely just pass them on to our science department. I think that's probably going to be a pretty good find. And then the last thing for today on this Friday Reads, wanted to go out on a positive note. I was watching one of the other booktubers, and he was Bear Reads Books, and he was talking about you need to look at the great things that happen in your life, and so he was sharing some of the great things in his life, and I wanted to share one of the great things in my life, and many of you probably have had similar things happen, but this extended stay here at my house because of the virus and everything. Because of that extended stay, I've been getting a lot more playing time with my 2-year-old Katie. And here's my great thing of the week that's just melted my heart. And she's done this several times throughout the week. But I was sitting in the chair watching TV last night, and she was over playing, and she come running up. And she comes up and she says, she puts her arms all around me and she says, "Daddy, I love you. Daddy, you're my favorite family. I love you." And my heart just melted. It was great. It's just one of those moments you want to just sit there and hold them forever. But, well, my 2-year-old doesn't sit still for very long. So it was, and then, when she was off. But that's okay. So anyway, that was my week this week for my Friday Reads video. Just wanted to share some of the things happening in life. Got books, got toilet paper, got some food in the cabinet. We are doing good here. So I hope that you find yourself doing good. I hope you have a great week and a absolute great time reading. Get some books in during the off time. BookTube, have a great day.